Hoffa.
Oh, heart so cold. They think I sold my soul. Like I would ever sell my soul. No, they wanna know how I'm so cold with it. My niggas see me and say, bro, did it. My diamonds dancing got them so livid. If you a hater, man,
I might have fucked a couple big bitches, but I never fuck with jealousy. Niggas talking like a op, keep the same energy. Homie said we crew still, but Brody just a friend of me. I don't fuck with you still, you know I got a memory.
I never changed like Hov said. You can't relate if you never slept on a cold bed. You wasn't plucking roaches off of mold bread with holes in your pro cats. I was only a teen, but felt more like an old head.
Trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rapper.
She wanted to talk about the pink stuff.
I do, but I wanted to talk about the Kendrick stuff first.
The pink cocaine.
Kendrick Lamar did an interview with Harper's Bazaar. Did you guys see it?
Harpers Bazaar. It's
No,
not
like-
even something niggas will watch.
So that's the whole point. He said, I said
Did
it
you
like
know
that.
Harper's a guy in this scenario? It's not a female. Harper's Bazaar.
Well, I mean, nobody really reads Harper's
a
Bazaar
fashion
like that. It's more of
fashion
a.
magazine.
Is it fashion or lifestyle?
It's lifestyle fashion.
Right. So that's his first interview since
the whole thing.
the whole Kendrick and Drake stuff. So he talked about not like us. He said everything that we've been waiting to hear. Everybody's been waiting to hear from Kendrick, and this is the first place that he does the interview. Before I go into like then what happened after, like how do y'all feel about that? Like, do you?
That was corny.
Oh, you think it was corny?
I think it was very corny.
Oh. Okay,
She thought you was going to Mecc is Meccan today.
I didn't think
Mecc
Mecc
said, I didn't think he was going to speak against Keyz. Hey, fuck it. Let's go. Let's see where this goes. So what did you think was corny about it?
I always think it's corny when we build stars up and they take their story someplace else. I think that's super corny. I think it's been corny. I hate it when our artists feel the need for validation from other outlets.
Right.
And I think other outlets suffer. You haven't seen the Source on stands or Double XL on stands, but the people who we make famous in hip hop take their stories to Harper's Bazaar or Cosmopolitan or all these other magazines that ain't really suffering the same way ours do. They go interview it. Now, thankfully, the person who oversaw the story, I'm guessing, was a black woman. He interviewed with SZA, and then there was a woman who wrote like the foreword, and I'm pretty sure she had a hand in it.
Right.
And that was a sister, and that's dope. And I'm glad she came up, and I'm glad she's getting some recognition. She's an award-winning journalist. If you look her up, she's got stripes, real stripes. So salute to Harper's Bazaar for at least knowing who to go get to write the piece. But she's not a hip hop journalist.
Right.
You dig what I mean? SZA is an artist. And you have to find me the hip hop magazine that would not have been happy to do all of those things.
Magazine or outlet.
Or outlet.
Podcast.
But I'm just sticking to magazines because that's what he did.
Yep, he did a magazine.
And our
article.
magazines are suffering. The magazines we have that we grew up on are suffering. They don't get stories like this.
Right.
So why not pull up with one of us?
We did put him
it's
on
Harper's
Source
Bazaar.
with the crown.
It still will be.
Remember that Source with Kendrick with the crown? That was.
What was your perspective?
us.
Because it seemed like you wasn't going to agree with Mecca at first.
I agree with Mecc, but I do think it's a different time. I would say, here's where I would have a caveat to what Mecca said. I wouldn't put it in a magazine because I think that's bad business. I'm just being real. I don't read no flipping through magazines, but would I bring him to a podcast like this one? Absolutely. So the hip hop journalism exists in different forms these days. So I think I agree with him. It just wouldn't be the brand, because those brands unfortunately have suffered so much throughout, the last 10 to 15 years. So we know where we're getting our exclusive interviews, right? And I think that helps drive the culture forward and helps the business. And I don't know why it would be in Harper's Bazaar. even, you know, celebrating the editor or writer there who was, you know, the black woman. What's her name? Because we should name her. We should name her.
Yeah, we should. We should. Check her out.
Just on like.
You're right.
We should name her and recognize her for, you know what I'm saying, the strides that she's made in the game. But that's not where you take a Kendrick interview. It's not. It's
Caitlin Greenidge.
Right.
Is her name. Kate, I hope I'm saying your name right, sis. I don't want to fuck it up. Caitlin Greenidge. She's, like I said, an accomplished writer. No salt, no shade, no
dope. Nothing. Like, that's a wonderful thing for him to do, right? Mm-hmm. But not first.
Right.
Not first. That's where you took it. And I love Kendrick, but I don't get it. I think there are other outlets that you could have gone to. You didn't have to go to academics or where, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know the problems or the controversy, whatever it is.
So what you think was what was his motive to do that? Why?
Probably
that's a conversation. Yeah. Probably somebody higher up, you know, a lot of artists.
Favor, could have been anything, right?
Well, a lot of artists, when they get to a certain level, I think, you know, their representation starts to change. I want the white publicist. So I don't know if his, you know, look, I don't know who reps him right now. So I don't want to, but that's just a thing in hip hop, right? An artist gets to a certain level. Now they want, you know, that representation.
You ever heard the expression, we've outgrown hip hop?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of publicists will get a successful artist and start trying to push them beyond the bounds of hip hop outlets, hip hop personalities, hip hop storytellers, hip hop journalists, because they convince their clients that that's like the Chitlin circuit.
Right.
And you want to outgrow the Chitlin circuit. So now it's time to do when Vogue comes asking of these big out, which is a great look.
It's a great look.
Big honest. I'm not shitting on that. But when you're an artist, the caliber of Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Jay-Z, Nas, you have to understand that your presence can make or break an outlet. You maybe not break it, but if you showed up to this place that made you and gave a specific interview, this is one of the reasons why Angie Martinez is so. First of all, Angie Martinez is like the GOAT when it comes to what she does.
Yeah, shout out to Angie.
The fact that she's able to get these people to sit down with her and have conversations is what makes her like fucking amazing. And she's literally the Oprah of that field. Mm-hmm. We don't. But when you're considered the Chitlin circuit by this publicist that's in your ear talking about, well, you need to outgrow. Like once you get to that level, it's not you can legitimize a space.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that was the case and that's why he did it. Just speculating on why artists make those type of decisions.
But we've seen it before.
We have seen it before. But I do want to say something though to add on to what we were talking about, because I feel like the response from hip hop journalists, and some of them were butthurt, like point blank, like,
he go pause on the butthurt, bro.
I thought you couldn't pause that.
Take his pause, man.
She said butthurt. That's a pause. Yeah, what you said.
Some of them were hurt about, you know, him doing it, right? But I look at it like now.
Who was hurt, by the way?
Oh man,
was Elliott Wilson in that list?
He was called out. I don't know if he said anything about. I'm sure he talked about it back and forth. I'm sure Elliott said something, but I can't remember what he said. Punch responded to the backlash, I guess, from hip hop journalists.
Right.
Right. And we could get into what he said, but before I say that, I want to just acknowledge that there are journalists out there that are doing great pieces, but I do think that access journalism has become a thing. Right. So like, yeah, access will get you a certain amount of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Just pause before you say it.
Okay. What?
Like if you know you're about to say something, pause.
No, she was pausing the phone drop.
I was pausing the phone drop.
Yeah.
Take it.
She didn't do it.
She didn't do it.
No, I didn't do it. I thought somebody else was going to do it.
Wait.
Hold on.
Why were you pausing the phone drop?
Yeah.
What's
the pause?
And he was gonna bend over and get it.
Yeah.
Yo,
That is a
hold on. No, wait. Her imagination.
I'm always
Yo,
Pause.
wait.
Take pause button.
Her imagination is running wild.
It's going crazy.
What's going
She's
on?
looking for
What's going on in
any
your
excuse to bust
Hey
it.
Kim, what's going on in your mind?
Hold on.
It's pause paranoia.
Feel me
Yeah.
now? Feel me
Pause
now?
paranoia. is
Do
going on.
you feel me now?
Pause.
Yes.
I don't pause.
Yo.
He was gonna bend over to get the phone. Okay.
That's your imagination. She
Yeah.
wanted to see you bend over.
That's what it was. Yeah, I believe
I
that.
started
going
this.
crazy.
I
She
started
watching
this.
you spin.
I started
She
this.
said, "Do you feel me now?" Whoa.
So anyway, wait. Go back to access journalism. So this idea of access journalism and that being what is making a lot of these outlets famous is kind of like a problem as well. I think we need to start doing better stories. I think writers need to start writing better stories. I think, people who are waiting for their Kendrick Lamar interview need to get the interview around him, right? Like there's a lot of ways you can cover the story and be great without the access. And I think we can see now a lot of the stuff, even the conspiracy theory stuff, right? If you look at just YouTube and the stuff that does well, nobody on YouTube really has access. Then they're getting these high numbers, and they're now graduating from YouTube platforms onto news outlets. So we need to do a better job as hip hop journalists. Forget the access. Forget it. And just go ahead and do a better story. That's how I feel. So there's two sides to that. But I do think that what Mecca was said, I would echo what he was saying. Just about. Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, based off the contents of the song, not like us, it should have been a no-brainer to do exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what you called somebody else out about, and then you just turned around and did basically the exact same thing that you just said the next man.
He accused Drake of 48 laws of power. Preach difference and change nothing.
I respect that, but my thing is, when you get called out about it and people talk about it like we are, then you gotta expect that to come out. And like you said,
I'm sure because Punch is already taking steps to kind of, and shout out to Punch. Punch is a homie, but
Let's say his tweet. What was his tweet?
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't.
He said a lot of hip hop journalists are trash.
Right.
I agree.
And I can't knock him.
He should have named names.
But I do feel
There's too many of them. That's like naming bad rappers. There's way too many of them. You get people who
name a couple.
Whenever the motivation for what you're doing changes, you change the. If your motivation for doing an art form is fame, recognition, money, you have to deal with people who are coming into the game for fame, recognition, and money. And that doesn't necessarily mean doing a quality job. That means doing it first and fastest so it gets out, putting it on the outlet that gets the most eyes, et cetera, et cetera.
Who are those journalists?
I don't keep track of them. I believe it or not, when I see something that's terrible, I don't look, and I don't make it a point to memorize their names because I don't want to be involved. However, I know the good ones. I can tell you who the good ones are.
Who the good ones? Name a couple, man.
Bonsu is excellent. Bones Malone,
Sidney
excellent. Excellent. What's the homie's name? Jerry Barrow, Chuck Creekmore, Daquan Thomas. I'm trying to name some. Will Ketchum.
But I want to say
Kathy Iandoli.
Will Ketchum?
Iandoli.
Yes, that's his name.
So
Did I say her last name right?
Yeah, you said it wrong. Iandoli.
Iandoli. Thank you. That's what happens when you only communicate.
I want to take it out of that.
Y'all
Hold on, Matt pulled out
are
the
y'all
book.
excluding this show?
I'm talking about pen to paper journalists.
Not podcast.
But I'm
podcast.
really not talking about pen to paper journalists because I wouldn't take
Math is crazy.
a not like
I'm
a
just saying.
Kendrick Lamar conversation to one of those journalists. As great as they are, I expect them to do different type of things. For him to do his first interview, I would bring him here. I would bring him to one of these platforms.
I'm naming pen to paper journalists because that's where it went. So when they asked me to name writers who I think are dope and would have smashed those, that's who I'm naming.
Smash that story.
That story. That's who I'm naming.
But I'm less about that story and more about
Rob Markman. Rob would have killed that.
The interview, right? Because broadcast journalism is where I think we are now in 2024. Like, I'm not really, a piece is different They did an interview. They did a Q&A. Why y'all, if y'all gonna write a story, write a wonderful story. They did a
How many
conversation.
people you think really watched that though, as far as his fans?
Plenty.
It's not even about watching it, because really Kendrick can film his own interview, and artists do this. He can sit down, he can go hire one of the journalists that we
monetize it himself.
A Sydney Madden or somebody like that who's gonna do a great interview. He can package it and he can blast it out, and all of the outlets will pick it up.
The Vultures Project. They got Big Boy and Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign sat down with him and did it.
Right.
It's super easy.
And that's a better way, I think, of addressing it from a cultural standpoint than to go to Harper's.
What if he just wanted to reach? What if he wanted to reach a different demographic? What if that was his point?
There is no demographic that Kendrick Lamar can't reach. The outlet is irrelevant. His name with the outlet equals the reach.
So the rules don't apply to him because it's Kendrick?
No, it's a different set of rules.
All right, so what happens when he used his whole campaign was about being part of the culture and everything, and then he jumps into...
It's one of the reasons I disagree with what he did. You haven't heard me co-sign that. It's one of the reasons I think he's really about that action, but I think this was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't doubt him in his philosophy. I don't doubt what he says, but this looks the opposite of what you said you were about.
I mean, definitely, because Kendrick Lamar...
His whole campaign is about the culture.
If you'd have pulled up on Sway,
right?
If you'd have pulled up on Us,
yes.
If you'd have pulled up on any of the other spaces where we were not only championing the battle,
right,
but we're documenting every step. If you'd have pulled up to any of these other places,
right, and he still could have did that.
He still can.
Yeah,
he absolutely still can. But there's something about the first look.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something about Eminem was the first major rapper to compliment Us.
Co-sign, super co-sign.
Absolutely in front of everybody for no reason. For no reason. I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with Eminem since 1999, 2000. He does not know who I am. So it wasn't me. It's literally because of what we were talking about on this show and the way we give it up. Right? And he out of nowhere said, if you watch my expert opinion, Math and those guys, the way they do,
Those are the guys you want to hear from.
Those were his exact words, right? When we start talking about hip hop, those are the guys you want to hear from because they do this.
Right.
That's the approach that's the shit we've been talking about since how many like Jay used to get flack. The conversation started when our bigger artists were running to other outlets instead of coming to hip hop outlets.
And you could tell he watched this shit because he took one of my quotes that I said to Coil Ray and put it in his rap.
What?
Eminem.
What?
Guess that, I guess that Coil Ray feature is down the drain. Remember that?
No, he dissed Misfit.
That was the first.
It's guaranteed he watches.
No, I seen that one, but I'm talking about the
and he dissed the girl.
He
seemed to be only concerned with
women. That ass.
She said that Machine Gun Kelly beat M in the battle, and then she listens to Tekashi. So if you listen to the Zoo song, it starts off. She says that I'm trash, but she listens to Tekashi. Bitch, you lost me. Yeah, fair weather, wishy-washy. She thinks Machine washed me. Swear to God, her favorite rapper wish he crossed me. Like, it was crazy. I heard it, I was like, yo, who you talking about? I knew it. I knew it when I heard it. But I think that...
On a side note, Marshall, if you could pull up, that would be
great. That would be dope.
You could actually...
I think that we may be being a little bit judgmental because we don't know what Kendrick's personal goals are. And to be featured in a fashion magazine outside of hip hop, that might have been on his list.
Yeah.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging him. It's just an observation.
I
don't think he's any more or less.
One thing we say about him is that he's very calculated in everything that he does.
Right.
So there's a reason why he did.
Could be a bigger picture. Could be a bigger play. That's why I'm not judging him. I don't take anything. It's not like I'm gonna not go listen to the music and shit. Right. That's not happening. But
what's up with that?
This is an old argument. It's an old argument. We since the Source days. I know for a fact. We've had situations where we've made an artist the biggest thing ever. When I say we, I mean hip hop. We've made them the number one, and then you make the call to get them on the cover, and you can't make it past the publicist. And they look at you like the Chitlin Circuit, and you feel some kind of way. Like, bro, these people didn't know who you were. These people didn't care where you came from. They don't know what city you rep. They don't even know what that means when you say I rep this city. They don't speak our language. They don't come from this cloth. How you going to them to give them the numbers?
But then you got to think about it. I think that's been the perception across the board, because you look at, you know, the celebration to getting inducted in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, and then the celebration to get inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Shout out to Tribe Called Quest for getting inducted. Like,
yeah, shout out to Features, shout out to Tribe. But it always seems like a bigger deal for hip hop artists to get
white acceptance.
Right.
If you just want to say it out loud.
Okay.
White acceptance. A lot of times people feel like white ice is colder. And we've been seeing that in journalism for decades. It's not new. It's just, it sucks. It sucks. You feel fucked up. Like, Jay only interviews with a handful of people, right? Like, Angie Martinez getting the Jay interview, you're not surprised. Elliot Wilson getting the Jay interview, you're not surprised. So, but his presence puts these people's name at a certain level.
Right. So that they can,
Kendrick pulling up here.
Yeah.
Eminem pulling up to Drink Champ. Like, that shit, it
matters.
Solidifies. And I don't get how they don't see that. Like, at this level, you can come home and put us on the map in a different way. And you don't have to. You're not obligated to. But, bro, we the ones. We was rocking with you. We know your catalog. We Section 80. We was there.
Right.
We made it hot for people to want to come fuck with you and do all that other shit. So, like, I mean, when you go running off to a place where they gonna look at you like just. And granted, they got a sister to write it, so they're not completely tone deaf.
Right.
But it as a journalist,
it stings a little.
Because
also I'm still trying to understand the Harpers Bazaar of it all. Like, do they even do hip hop interviews like that?
They do when it's somebody who's transcended.
Right.
He's Super Bowl. So he's you know what I mean? It's different. But that's even more of a reason why you should come home. Like, why
like
not,
I said, it was just
why
the
not
timing.
us? Why didn't not
He could have still did that shit just later.
Okay. But anything you do is going to promote
in a fashion
the Super Bowl.
magazine.
I don't know.
In a fashion magazine.
Anything you do is going to promote.
I don't think the people picking that magazine up is watching the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, man. Maybe for the tackles.
Again, I don't know his explanation. I don't know why he decided to. I don't know who made the decision. You assume it was up to him. Maybe who knows?
Well, I'm looking. I just looked up Kendrick Lamar Fashion Week. He was performing at Louis Vuitton fashion show.
Okay.
So it's probably a move or play within there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm sure there's something to it.
He probably coming out with a line or something.
I don't feel like we should cast judgment too quick.
I'm not judging him. It just stinks. It sucks.
I don't think it stings, man, because
that's because you're not a journalist. You have no idea what it's like to be following an artist their whole career and then watch them go run off to a place that won't hire you to write it. You don't know that struggle is real. When you go to Vogue and you're like, hey, I want to do it, and they look at you like, the fuck? Like,
but even with being first, to me, as a person that watch podcasts and just becoming a host on one, it's about the content, right? So I don't care if 10 people could be first. I know that this set of people right here is going to ask a different type of questions and it's going to evoke a different type of emotion from the audience.
Sounds good, except for the fact that now you have to follow the set of questions that have already been asked, which puts a whole different spin on everything. Now you got to make it a point not to ask the questions that these people already asked. You got to find a different way to spin it. Whereas if you're first,
or shit that they don't want to talk about.
I mean, that's the
main shit. They get a hold. So like a lot of the time we get a list of shit that they don't want to talk about.
It wasn't too many quotes that really came out of that interview. It was
this is Harper's fucking Bazaar.
It was like,
I don't think they would know to ask the shit that's going to get quotable.
During not like
now, if he would have went to Piers Morgan, I would have felt the way. If she'd have went there, I would have felt the way.
That's the sound. What
I'm telling you what it is. They probably just don't want to talk about certain shit.
No.
6 of one, half a dozen of the
shit
other.
they don't want to talk about. Tell them, don't ask me this. I don't want to be asked that. You know what I'm saying? If they ask that, I'm getting up and I'm walking right out.
Does that happen here?
I think.
What?
Do they like?
We've never had someone walk out.
We asked people
we had
before
questions
we get started.
that we
is there something specifically you don't want to talk about?
Oh, I remember a case where it happened right here when I was sitting right here. Remember?
What case?
Oh no, we ain't talking about that.
What? What are we talking about?
You don't remember?
We ain't talking about it.
Remember? Okay.
What?
You asked the question, Spin. You asked the question.
You did ask
and
the
it
question.
happened.
I'm talking about
Right
hip hop.
here.
I'm talking about hip hop.
And I,
Yo,
I'm talking about hip hop.
Yo, whisper into the mic. Who is it?
Whisper into the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Whisper into the hoochie.
Into the hoochie.
Oh.
They're gonna hear it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, y'all clowned me for having to stand down
Oh,
with the rap.
yeah. I remember that. My fault. I'll do it.
RFK is in culture. RFK is
we talking about hip hop.
Yes, there's something.
We're talking about politics.
It's the same thing. Politics as usual. Hip hop has a lot of politics in it, and that's what we're talking about. We're
Yeah,
having
there are a lot of politics. And
about the politics of hip hop journalism.
like, I'll say this.
And that's what we're dealing with.
I text Punch.
Okay.
And I didn't get a response. And I was like, But about 3 days prior to that, I was going viral on Twitter because whoever runs Academics TV page took a clip of something I said and titled it MATHHOFFA Cooks Kendrick Lamar for blah, blah, blah. The title was totally misleading. If you watch the clip, I'm not cooking nobody. I'm actually congratulating them for getting the Super Bowl and pointing out how ill it was that he got the Super Bowl after these two guys was like, big as the Super Bowl. So I commented on it. I didn't tell them to take it down because I didn't think it was going to get taken down. I said, yo, this title is very misleading. I wonder how many people are gonna react to the title before they watch the clip. So I don't know, man. I think in hip hop, people are very, very, very touchy. So I don't know sometimes. You know what I mean?
How you have relationships with these type of people, like someone who's connected to Kendrick Lamar and they don't come to the platform?
Because niggas is busy.
It's not a priority for them. Again, if Kendrick Lamar has, all right, he had the biggest record of the year. He's gotten Grammys. We don't know what's on his list of accomplishments that he wants to reach next. It might not involve hip hop. He's been giving us great work for over a decade. He might be trying to transcend or move on to something else. You never know. So I don't hold anything against anybody. What's for me is for me, and no matter when or how long it takes, it's gonna happen.
Kendrick, we'd love to have you in one of these seats to talk some hip hop.
If you want to explain anything.
It was a hip hop moment, and he went someplace else to give his first interview after one of the biggest hip hop moments of the culture.
And I heard he in Brooklyn somewhere, allegedly.
Damn. Yeah,
pull up, nigga.
Yeah.
Pull up.
Chamomile all over the
Hold on, say that again.
No, don't say it again.
Say it again.
He got an apartment in Brooklyn. Real shit. He got an apartment in Brooklyn. Right.
I got family out here.
Y'all telling? Why y'all doing that? No, but I know it's public knowledge.
Thankfully, Brooklyn's a big place.
Yeah, so I'm from Brooklyn, nigga. You know everything, Mecc. You heard? We gonna get you some Shell Top 10s, you heard?
We're not gonna start that conversation, man.
He said he want to battle Brooklyn niggas with Timbs, son. Like, niggas don't scare me.
That's because you know damn well not to come to Harlem with that bullshit.
I guarantee I got something you ain't got.
Nah, you know what's up now.
I do know. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, I'm always ready, Mecc. Mecc, I'm always ready, man. Every day. I'm always ready, man.
He said, I do now.
Man.
I do now. You never know. I do now.
Sounds good.
Mecc go come with some Timbs with some graffiti on it. He said, "I'm just the factory."
I ain't never seen Mecc in a pair of Timbs in my life.
Those the factory joints.
I ain't never seen Mecc in a pair of Timbs in my life, man.
You ain't paying attention. You ain't paying attention.
Mecc wears
You don't be watching.
Okay.
So,
okay. Listen. The Crips accountant look is you got that. The blueberry joints, I'm not anti.
I'm just saying, I do this, man.
But when you ready,
right? I
get a good night's sleep. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Come nice. Come
get him, man.
Show up. Nice and
that's
prepared.
GTA Flatbush right now, bro.
Show up.
What's going on?
That's GTA Flatbush.
Actually,
right
I was
now.
listening to Jodeci before I came outside, but that's all I'm saying. That's, you know what I mean? I was listening to Jodeci before I came outside. But anywho, I hear you 110.
I'm not gonna cry for you when this is over.
Nigga was listening. Come see, walk with me.
When you ready, just say a word and get the right pair.
Yo,
because when I scrape you, I need it to be at your best.
Where's
my
button? Where my
Yeah. Ha! Yeah, I'm so special, I'm so special, I'm so special, so special, so special. I'm like Ichigo, master in a red suit. This my Bankai form, I'm about to let loose. Better make your next move your best move. Straight out the gate, niggas gon' hate and try to test you. Watch who you with, who your mans, who you next to. If you take a hit with son assist like a nephew,
you can never check us. Homie, this a chess move. Wrote this on a little short bus, I'm so special. If Mav say get him, I'ma get him. Ain't no talking when I pull up. Park up, hop out, run down with my hood up. Now what the fuck are you hating for? Can't DFG get money anymore?